after your presentation. Yes, you should. I should stay in order to see me. You know, by accident, I was for a while in a position of public dignity, and I was for a time Secretary of State in the Ministry of European Affairs. I'm not coming saying this to you because of that position, because in the past I had probably more than 12 years being General Director of the National Coordination Unit for European funds. I know, and it's better to take into consideration this information. I know the reaction of the politicians, and it doesn't matter the color party which they are coming from. They have the same reaction. It's bad. Somebody came, had an evaluation on the document, on the strategy, or whatever you may propose, and it's bad, it's not good, it should be improved because of this and that and that. And the first reaction is, who are they? From which party they are coming from? They are behind which think tanking group? No, they are evaluators. They are coming from UK at that time with that specific discussion. And are not, liberals, are not conservative, are not laborists. They're just professors. Okay. Another reaction, after 2 years' time, another politicians, another discussion, another public, let's say, policy. No, they came in the purpose saying that the document is not good. I forgot to tell you, Mr. Razvan Kotovela, this is the strategy of the governing plan. I said, oh my God, if this is the governing plan, it's lost, everything is lost. And the same reaction, I said, Mr. Minister, what is real the problem? Who are they to tell me why this document, which is governing plan, is bad? So, my reaction, I don't know if it's a good reaction or a bad reaction. Whatever we may have in this field, bottom line, it's a matter of trust. We should offer to the people which are in the positions, very sensitive positions, decision makers, the trust of the work of the evaluators, the trust of the family of the professional, let's say, professionals which are working in this field, and every time coming with arguments. We have, I don't know if a code of ethics, I don't know if we have the principle and values addressed in a document, but if we have a better organizational and a better interaction with the public and administrative sector, it will be better for them and better for the evaluators, because we're gonna... No, it's happening, don't worry. Because if bottom line, it's better for us, better for them in order to offer them that the best ideas and to offer them the trust that whatever is doing here is for mutual benefit, I would say. If you have some questions or comments, please.
You said something about you have the evaluation from experts. You present it to some political. The problem is that the political man is not the expertise, and that is why he said it's not good, because he's limited and he doesn't want to listen to the experts. That's a big problem. About an ethic code, I think that the first thing should be the common sense of the evaluator. The opening mind to look around, not in one direction or another direction. that is political. And this code should be like the 10 commitments from the Bible. You have 10 things. That is the problem for the academic field, to gather all the impressions from every evaluator in this country if we want to have a code. And this code should be accepted by the government, by the local politicians, and so on. So every evaluator then will sign an assignment. I respect the code, yes, but this is the code with this journal. And if all the parts involved in this evaluation programs of the system, the politicians and the experts and everybody, if they accept this code, which shouldn't be let's say something written on in a law or any decision of the government, or I don't know. This should be written everywhere, like, I don't know, like in the Bible. We don't have to have many rules, only important rules, the essence of this code. And if the professor said, well, we won't call it ethic code, integrity.
Yeah, I said that. I don't know if it's the right, let's say, sentence or title to name it Code of Ethics. Probably the proposal, I couldn't remember so many details, so I'm getting old. You know so well how it was in 2008, who proposed.
They said everything wrong with the Code of Journalists.
They said, well, the Code of Journalists, and they will write down injuries or in their papers, or they came to TV, to ocean, and they say bad words about one each other, and they said, well, the code of ethics of the journalists. It's, if they want to respect, the same thing is it means for the evaluators experts. Because if you have the expertise for evaluation, you expect the response from the other party, at least to listen to your expertise. That is.
The journalists in Romania have several codes of ethics, but usually they are grounding the codes on rights. So they made a selection of rights from the universal rights and put there as a basis and start from there, saying these are the principles. Well, this is a theoretical confusion, if I may say, because if they look at the document, the UN document in 48, the Declaration of Human Rights, they will find from the first part of the document that all the rights are based there, at least, on a moral principle, the principle of respect for persons, or respect for the dignity of persons. So there is a moral principle, one, of a Kantian origin, which base the whole system of rights. But this is a theoretical confusion, and I cannot impute to the journalists which are not theoreticians. But I would add to what I already said, and our colleague said before me, that I think that this strategy of speaking about codes of ethics of a profession, evaluator in this case, I believe is not the best strategy. So we have to enlarge the object of study and put the ethical code inside what I said, not what I said, but several institutions say an ethical infrastructure or a system of ethics management. This means that this profession or this system of organizations, of evaluators of various kinds, have to set up a system of institutions which form an ethical infrastructure, having in their kernel, as a kernel, let's say, having the ethical code. But an ethical code without these institutions, for instance, an ethics committee, or a feedback from the personnel to the heads of the institutions, an ethical hotline, or without ethical trainings in a way or in another, will remain a dead word, this code of ethics. Without these institutions around, it's difficult to convince people that these institutions around are vital, because they imply some cost, let's say. They suppose some people involved there. But I believe it's not impossible. For instance, my university has made steps forward in accepting this idea, and we are in a situation in which perhaps we'll have a manager with ethical problems at the level of the university. So an ethical office. An ethical office may be combined and will be combined in the university with the quality assurance office. But they are not the same. They have to cooperate, but not to meld one on another. Sorry.
I'm the head of the Israeli Association for Program Evaluation, and we had the same dilemma in 2006 when we decided that we needed guidelines or standards, that it was characteristic of a profession to have certain standards or guidelines. And we had a great deal of discussion about ethics. And we got so bogged down in ethics and morals and virtues that we weren't moving forward with guidelines that were really necessary in an early, unclearly defined profession. So we opted, we opted to write guidelines based on certain ethical principles, the way you suggested. But we felt that the first step would be to have some kind of guidelines for evaluators, for commissioners of evaluation, for stakeholders, so that everybody would be on the same page in this profession. So they would know what the evaluators were doing there, so that a contract was signed in the beginning of an evaluation, and everybody knew what the responsibility and obligation of each person was, so that this trust could be built. And maybe later on in the profession, we'll get to an ethical code and an ethical committee. But at that point, we felt that we needed to establish certain acceptable rules for the conducting of evaluation. Because also, like in Romania, it was a very beginning profession, so that people weren't trained in evaluation per se. You had psychologists, you had educators, philosophers, mathematicians. I mean, there was a huge range of people practicing evaluation. So we really felt we had to put them together. The other point was that ethics, it's just such a huge field, ethics. And then the thought of sanctions on ethics. And can you really sanction an ethic, or is it an internal mechanism